First off, a little bit about how both of you got involved in this one.
Well, I got an email from WME, and I think I got an email from you too. Because I knew Timur from before, and we've been talking about maybe doing a film together, different times for a while, for a couple of years actually. And he said, he's got this very interesting thing, and they'd love me to do it. That's how, yeah. And I also got it from WME. I got the short film, Bad Motherfucker, and I watched it. I must have watched it like 16 times on repeat, and I was like, "What is this?" And I wanted to do it. It was just the idea of trying to do a movie like that was just fascinating to me. Something really fresh and really original. Ever since District 9, I'd sort of thought, well, hopefully people are going to come to me now with interesting creative stuff, and just there's very little really wild things happening out there. This was really the first time that somebody came with something truly unique after D9.
Absolutely. And how about for you?
I was in Los Angeles, and a friend of mine called me and said, there is something happening on the internet. There's our Russian young director uploaded a video. You will like, and I clicked, I opened it, and then after I finished when it's finished, it didn't finish yet. I just called Ilya and said we should make a movie the same style, the same language. And he said, no, I don't know.
He said no, basically.
Yeah, he said no. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a short how to tell the story. And then when we met and discussed, and he figured out the story.
Is it a traditional script you're working with for something like this?
No, I mean, in the way it was eventually, but the way that it was, I mean, you wouldn't say traditional in the sense that, like, when I jumped on board, he'd really designed the action sequences first, the sequences that he knew he wanted, and then worked a narrative into that.
It was very important for me to have Sharlto in the project, because he kind of helped with the storytelling, because inside, because just to be the character who can make it not just 90 minutes of the cool stuff, but kind of interesting story.
Yeah, we worked a lot on trying to find, well, okay, if you have to have these types of sequences that you want to do, what's the sort of simple story that we could do, and we were testing the whole time how much narrative could we get away with, how long could we sit there and have characters talking to the camera, and it was sort of a big experiment, almost a vertical learning curve for us. So there was a script, absolutely, by the time we're shooting, but we were constantly sort of reworking and trying to test out and see what was working and what wasn't.
Were there a lot of test screenings for this?
No, you guys didn't test it at all. This was the first time we've seen it with an audience.
Oh my god.
Ever, yeah. I was wanting him to test it. I kept saying, Ilya, you really need to test, like, if people are getting sick in the movie, and he'd be like, well, I showed it to like 20 of my friends and nobody got sick, and I'm like, dude, like, you really need to just get like a whole cinema full of people, but yeah, surprisingly last night we didn't have too many issues with that. Not too many issues, only people sitting right up front. Cloverfield actually had a lot of that too, I remember I actually got a little bit woozy in Cloverfield more than I did in this.
I feel like at this point we have to be adjusting to these kinds of formats, or you're just going to miss the boat with really interesting ways to tell stories.
I think 16-year-olds are going to be like, what do you mean? Like, why, this is just normal.
Yeah, we should sell the tickets with the pills.
Yes, with the little tablet, motion sickness tablet.
It'd be a really clever promotional gimmick, though.
It would.
Can you tell me a little bit?
And diapers too.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about just what you're looking after at this point for just unique ways of telling stories? Because between this and Unfriended, I mean, you've kind of almost not necessarily created yourself, but like fostered the creation of two really unique camera systems that I imagine everyone's going to want to get their hands on.
This year we were very lucky because we made two movies, totally different genres. but both of them innovative and the movies nobody made before. Of course, when you're first, you make mistakes. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's exciting because you are like a Columbus discovering something new, and I think this language will be very well received by the young filmmakers, and they will, because it's a gamer, it's a world. Like, the games more and more looks like movies, and the movie more and more looks like a game.
And it's funny because no one can nail video game adaptations, yet look at what you guys just did, and it really does. It makes you feel like you're part of a video game.
Yeah, and you know, in the beginning, the question, I mean, on everybody's mind was, can you sustain it for 90 minutes? And then people, you know, heard I was doing it. It was like, okay, the short's incredible. You know, a couple of people were like, but everyone had that same question. And then somebody told me, I didn't know about this, one of the big YouTube channels, like one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world is apparently, I don't know, you probably know, it's a guy playing video games. And people watch a guy playing video games. So I'm like, okay, well, if there's like a massive YouTube market for people watching somebody play actual video games, this is certainly more interesting to me than that. So probably, you know, seeing a video game come to life would be interesting. And in the beginning, Ilya was actually trying to avoid too many video gamey references. But as we went, like in the script, he was trying to sort of avoid them and make it a more sort of credible movie as we were navigating. And then suddenly it was like, actually the video game references work, you know, really well, and you could probably do it even more, you know, even more typically video gamey with, but I mean, you have those references in the form of like different weapons that he's getting as he goes and more power, you know, and zooming in with the scope with this, you know, so I love the video game references. You know.
Are there any deleted scenes with this?
Probably. Yeah, there's deleted scenes.
Yes. A lot.
we did some crazy stuff.
I just feel like the opportunity to include little references like that are absolutely endless.
Yeah.
Like, I would totally watch like a 2-hour version of this.
Well, there you go.
What's it like doing something like this on set and working with Ilya as an actor's director? Is it the same kind of, you know, give some notes and do a take again?
Yeah, it was uniquely difficult, this film. Like, it was truly hard. We were trying to do as few cuts as possible, you know, knowing obviously that we were going to need to cut. So we would try to do probably more, you know, in hindsight, more than we needed to. Trying to do whole runs of 30 seconds or a minute and a half at once. And, you know, therefore get a lot of things perfect in one take. And sometimes Ilya would be behind the camera as the cyborg. And so sometimes it would be a stuntman, sometimes it would be the DOP acting as the guy, and so I'm acting directly with the director at times, and it's pretty crazy. Like, he's got a GoPro rig like this sometimes, and then he had a monitor here, literally this close to his face, where he can see, you know. So I'm busy framing you if I'm doing the scene with you across the table, and then what happens is he's director and kind of actor. You know, so it's kind of like I'm doing this and I'm meant to hand you the phone and I'm doing this. Take the phone. Good morning. How are you? You know, and now you've got to act with this, and he's doing this with his eyes the whole time, as he's like framing. Yeah, okay. Now take this one. You know, there it is. Yeah, okay, we're going. And I'm busy talking, but you mustn't look here. You must look here, which is so difficult because my eyes keep doing this. You know, and as my eyes move, your eyes will want to come to see my eyes, but you just got to look here. This is the eye of the character. So stupid little things like that. So eventually we end up putting sunglasses on whoever's on the camera so that you don't notice the eyeballs moving, so that you can keep the actor can keep their vision focused on the right lens. You know, weird technical stuff like that that's so basic, but very difficult to work with.
That's insane. I mean, maybe doing stuff like Chappie and motion capture and kind of getting a taste of the technical world like that, does that help kind of pave the way?
Well, I did this before Chappie, and because I came from, you know, the other side of the camera, it helped to some degree. Like, I know what the guys were going through, but it was a totally different acting experience because I'm used to either acting against like another actor's there or there's nothing there, you know. Either of those two things I'm okay with. Like sort of a half something there, which is kind of the director at times, and then it is a character, but it's the cameraman, or it's just a stunt guy. And then for them also, it's so difficult. It's like a stuntman's got to get set on fire and fall out of a bus, and still worry about the frame. You know, like that scene. It's like there's two people getting set on fire. Like that scene, for example, we do that in one go. So we would try to do, you know, he gets set on fire. So in one shot, you see my character get set on fire. The stunt guy gets set on fire. He falls out of the window, you know, puts himself out. Another character falls out of the window on fire as well. And then my guy comes running out of the door on fire. And you're trying to do all of that for a stuntman to be on fire and remember where he misframed too. So not only does he think about the stunt, but it's like, you know, Yuri, sorry man, you got to do that again. Like we didn't see the lot. Like remember, you got to look this way. It's not on camera, bro.
I was watching the Kickstarter video because I followed the campaign a little bit, and everything in that video makes it seem like so much of this was practical. It's really done there.
Almost everything. Yeah.
What was the timeline like for this? Because like you just mentioned that you shot this before Chappie, but then I know you also did the Kickstarter campaign. Like what was it, like a year ago at this point?
2.5 years.
2.5. Oh,
It was
wow.
May. It was May 2012.
Yeah.
And when you go into a shoot like that, because, you know, we don't see very many productions raise $250,000 on Kickstarter. It's like, can you just go into a shoot like this knowing that you're going to need all that money after the fact, or was that kind of like a different plan?
No, it started with more optimistic numbers. It was 2.5 years, and it was 120 something shooting days.
It was meant to be like 50 something shooting days, and ended up at 120.
I can't believe
But
how
we
many
kind of
people-
knew, we knew, and a lot of that was just learning curve, you know.
You cannot predict because nobody made it before.
And what about just getting insurance to do some of the stuff that you guys do? I mean, is that
I don't
just
know,
like
did we have
is that like an
insurance?
absolutely impossible process?
I don't know if we had insurance. I don't think so.
Is there any one particular sequence in this that you're so proud of, or like can't believe that it actually came together and looked that great?
I mean, I had a different one. I liked the scene, the first look scene that we released, which is with the colonel when they you know, going down protecting the cripple, as he calls it, to go in the elevator. But there's so many different ones. I mean, I think that's what's interesting. There's a lot of, just talking to people even last night, the people's favorite moments or favorite characters.
The horse scene.
You know, it's so different. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Well, I don't know. I don't have, because it's so many, you said.
I started trying to jot them all down, and it's like the horse, but like no, the helicopter,
The horse
and
is
then
fantastic.
and rappelling off the building.
The horse is fantastic moment where you think you're going to be riding the horse. And he had a whole horse sequence planned for that. He had this whole long horse sequence planned. And I remember sort of arguing with him at one point. I was like, dude, you got to be careful. And like the horse was going to get killed. I was like, don't kill a horse. It's like a Western audience. Don't kill animals, man. Not a good idea. And then just thankfully, something happened. And he, I think, ran out of money at one point or something. And then had a much better idea with the horse, which you see in the film, which I love.
Very clever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to wrap up with you guys soon, but I just wanted to ask about some of your upcoming stuff. Ben-Hur in post-production right now. How was the process of taking it from script to set to screen? Has anything changed drastically that surprised you?
Not so much yet. It was really good script written by John Ridley, and it was the reason for me to make this movie. Production was in Italy. It was in Rome on Cinecittà, and we built a huge circus, 1,000 feet long, and it was horses riding for 3 months, and everything was real, with the real horses, real stunt guys from Hungary. Exciting. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm very looking forward to seeing it. And I'm a big fan of Unfriended. And someone posted a story about Unfriended 2, which kind of surprised me.
It's too early to announce something, but we're working on the same brand.
Is it a challenge to develop a story for that where it kind of doesn't feel like you're turning it into like paranormal activity? You can only do that so many times before people are like, oh, again.
No, we live in this world. We're in internet constantly, and it's why the stories are around us. It's not difficult.
It's a very fair point, actually. And any chance you're going to work with Neil again soon?
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.